Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're diving into what I can only describe as the anatomy of a complete financial disaster. We're looking at a fascinating and honestly kind of terrifying case study of two truck drivers, Jessica and Angie. And man, their story is an absolute masterclass in the dangers of zero financial literacy. I mean, on paper, they should be totally crushing it. But as you're going to see, it's a perfect storm of high income hitting a brick wall of bad habits. Let's just get right into it and see how this all unravels.
Okay, so let's kick things off with this really impressive number, $135,200. That's their combined net yearly income. They're a team driving long-haul routes, living in the Dallas suburbs with a six-figure take-home pay. I mean, they've basically built the perfect illusion of the American dream, right? With that kind of serious cash flowing in every single year, you'd naturally assume they're super comfortable, banking cash for the future and just building a rock-solid foundation.
But yeah, income alone does not equal wealth, because their actual financial score in this audit, 0. Literally a 0 out of 10. Despite bringing in over 130 grand a year, their emergency fund is totally drained, debts are just piling up to the ceiling, and they are staring down the barrel of financial ruin. It is such a crazy whiplash from that huge income figure we just talked about.
So the obvious question is how? How did two high-earning people end up in such a mess? Well, to find the root of the crisis, we have to look way past the paychecks. We really need to examine their foundational understanding of personal finance, or, well, actually, the complete and utter lack of it.
The contrast here between their so-called independence and reality is just staggering. They genuinely thought they were financially stable, but here's the wild truth. Up until just 2 months before this audit, one of their mothers was managing literally all of their bills. Yep, they were just handing her a flat allowance of $2,000 every single week, and she was the one actually navigating the payments. But when she sadly passed away recently, they were suddenly forced to manage their own money at 31 and 32 years old, and they have zero practice, no life skills in budgeting whatsoever.
And you know that total lack of experience leads to some seriously jaw-dropping moments. Like when they were discussing a credit card that's actually maxed out over its limit, one of them genuinely asks, "I haven't seen pay it off ever. Where's the payoff?" They literally did not understand how credit card limits work, or interest, or even minimum payments. They honestly thought that because they were making these random payments while still swiping the card for way more than they paid, that the debt would just magically disappear.
And look, that fundamental lack of financial education, it basically guarantees a disaster. You get these massive mountains of bad debt. When you mix a complete misunderstanding of credit with a huge income that makes you feel invincible, you don't just get a little bit of debt, you accumulate an absolute avalanche of it.
Walk with me through these suffocating obligations, because wow, we aren't just talking about a bad shopping spree here. They're sitting on a $53,000 mortgage balance, which, by the way, they were totally unaware they were 3 months behind on. They've got a maxed-out Quicksilver credit card sitting at nearly $8 grand, thousands of dollars in random collections, and the cherry on top, a $46,000 loan for a Jeep Gladiator. The sheer volume and variety of this bad debt is just completely suffocating their monthly cash flow. And actually, speaking of that Jeep Gladiator, just think about this number, $1,362. That is the absurd monthly payment they're making on that one single vehicle. But what makes this absolutely fatal to their finances is that they owe over 46 grand on a truck that's currently worth maybe $16,000. They rolled massive negative equity right into a depreciating asset. It is this enormous heavy anchor just dragging their whole budget completely underwater.
But here's the thing. Terrible car loans are really only half the problem. The real killer here is death by 1,000 swipes. It's the daily, totally unmonitored outflow of cash that silently drains away that six-figure income before it can even do any good. Let's break down this daily chaos, shall we? They've got $1,750 in pure BS spending leaks every single month. We're talking non-stop truck stop runs for taquitos, sweet treats, random gas station food. Then you throw in U-Haul rentals, an $82 monthly storage unit for a sister who already lives with them. Oh, and multiple buy now pay later microloans for giant TVs. Why? So they can, quote, see people better in Fortnite. It is a continuous, mind-boggling drain of their resources. So all of that crazy spending leads us right to this deeply alarming number, $131. That is the tragically low balance of their checking account at the time of the audit. Just powerfully juxtapose that right up against their $135,000 yearly income. Hundreds of thousands of dollars pass through their hands, but because there's no tracking, no discipline, and practically zero financial boundaries, practically nothing stays in their pockets.
So why does all this matter so much right now? Well, it's the true cost of ignorance. See, they aren't just risking their own futures anymore. They are 7 months pregnant via a sperm donor, meaning they're about to bring a newborn baby into an environment completely stripped of financial security, with zero safety nets, and honestly without even basic budgeting know-how.
And when they were pressed on how they planned to handle the massive financial reality of a new baby on top of all this crushing debt, their response was literally just roll with the punches. It just highlights the super alarming lack of any concrete plan for the future, and the dark irony of a roll with the punches mentality is that, well, compound interest and late fees are going to hit you whether you're rolling or not.
This whole situation just perfectly illustrates the massive gap between expectation and reality. Their expectation is that one of them will drastically cut their trucking hours, stay home, and basically become a tradwife. But the harsh mathematical reality: they are 3 months behind on their mortgage, facing potential foreclosure, and they have over $2,200 in bare minimum debt payments due every single month. You just cannot cut your income in half when you're already failing to meet your basic survival obligations. You just can't.
So, what's the path out of this mess? It requires a massive shift to strict, unforgiving budgeting. Financial auditor Caleb Hammer laid out this rigorous 14-month escape plan to save them from total ruin. It leaves absolutely zero room for error, but it is entirely mathematically possible if they just change their behavior.
Let's walk through this step-by-step resolution. Step 1. They have to cap their monthly survival budget at $5,911. That means completely cutting out all of that BS spending. Step 2. They absolutely have to maintain their dual trucking hours and current income level. Nobody gets to stay home just yet. Step 3. By throwing their remaining $6,000 a month directly at the problem, they can wipe out that $86,000 in bad consumer debt in exactly 14 months. And finally, Step 4. Once the debt is gone, they have to build a true 6-month emergency fund to protect their growing family.
It is a super aggressive plan, but honestly, it's the only way to avoid absolute disaster here. Which brings us to our final thought. As you reflect on this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question. Does a massive income matter at all if you don't know where it's going? It is a stark reminder that immense earning power can be completely neutralized by a lack of financial literacy. Understanding your money is just as important, if not more so, than making it.